Hello everybody, welcome to I Teach Teachers. If you haven't been here before, my name is Carrie and I am just beginning my 24th year of teaching. I currently teach at Utah Valley University. I teach future teachers and I love being a teacher. If you are here today, I am going to answer a bunch of questions that people have been asking me. So if that sounds interesting to you, stay tuned. Also, if you like my videos, I'd love it if you would subscribe, hit that bell, and hit that like button. That helps me out, and that also gives me some feedback. Like I said, today we're going to answer some questions that I've been getting about teaching, and usually they're questions about the beginning of the year. We're all feeling that anxious excitement about starting a new school year. There's nothing like it. I absolutely love the beginning of the school year. Yesterday, my husband and I took our daughter, Tess, who's going to be in 8th grade. We took her school shopping, and it was just fun. It's just fun and exciting to get new clothes or to get new school supplies or whatever that looks like. For me, it's very fun. I started school when I was 3. I was in preschool, and now I'm a lot older than that. But I've been in school for 44 years, and every year it's so exciting. It never gets old. It's always fun and exciting. We are dealing with the most unstable factor on earth, kids. We get new kids every year, and I think that's one reason I love teaching so much. So let's get started on some questions. I have my little clipboard here. I'm kind of old-fashioned that way. And the first question let's talk about is, someone asked me, how do I plan for the first week? This is a first-year teacher. And as I plan for my first week, first of all, I start with the first day. And I script everything out. I write it out as if I were speaking. I tell my students, teaching is kind of like performing on stage, and your script is what you practice before the performance ever starts. And then when it's time to perform, you're ready. So I feel like if I type out what I think I'm going to say and what I think I'm going to do, that really helps me. For example, first day of school, on my plan, I would write, arrive at school at 7:30 a.m., do this. Make sure my makeup's fresh. Make sure my lipstick's on. Make sure my camera's charged or my phone's charged for pictures. I would actually type all those things into my first day. And I will script out a first day, and I'll link it down below so that you can use that if you want to for a template. Script out everything on that first day. Because the kids don't know procedures yet, make sure that you welcome them at the door, big smile, take a picture, make sure there's something at their desk that they can independently start working on. Maybe you have a getting to know you sheet, or you want them to write their numbers 1 to 100, or you want them to color something. Like, make sure there's something for them to do until you can start in on your procedures. Which leads me to the second thing. As you're planning out your week, you are going to be talking about procedures a lot and rules, but you don't want to overwhelm the kids with just talk. So review my procedure video and make sure you're teaching them effectively and practicing, and do silly non-examples. That's always fun for kids to see the teacher be a little bit silly for a non-example. As you're going through that first week, address the procedures as they come. For example, I'm not going to talk about the procedures for not throwing snowballs in August. That doesn't mean anything to the kids. So make sure the things that you're talking about are things that the kids need to know at that moment. My chart I have back here looks like, sounds like, feels like. Do that all through the week. You're going to have these charts hanging all over your room for reference. And then I take a picture of all of them and just print them out, put them in a binder, and then if we need to review it, or I need to remind somebody of the procedure, we can just, look right in the binder. Okay, so that's my first answer to how to plan that first week. What to do. I do a lot of read alouds during the first week. It's a time for all of us to just take a breather. And I promise you, teachers, you're going to need that breather. This year, our school district starts on a Monday, which I think is hard. Kids have been doing summer. Teachers have been doing summer, and it's hard to get through that whole week. So make sure you have plenty of read alouds. I'm going to link a list of read alouds that was created by my Classroom Management 2 students, spring semester 2019, and they created this list of read alouds along with different management topics that could go along with the read aloud. It's quite invaluable, so I'll link that down below. But I also wanted to share just a few of my favorites that I shared during that first week. This is called Going Places by Peter and Paul Reynolds. Love Peter Reynolds. He wrote The Dot. He wrote The Word Collector, Happy Dreamer, I Am Peace. He has a lot, so I highly recommend that book. This book is called We Share Everything by Robert Munsch. It's a great example of sharing, but also things that really we don't share. So that's a good one by Robert Munsch. Enemy Pie. I love Enemy Pie by Derek Munson. Talks about things that would make a good friend, not just an enemy. Lily's Purple Plastic Purse. This is a classic. This is one I don't let my students add to the list because it's my favorite and I get to add it to the list. So Lily's Purple Plastic Purse, great book, all about Lily disobeying her teacher. Wilford Gordon MacDonald Partridge by Mem Fox, about a little boy and how he shares his memories. This is a fun one to do the first week. Have kids bring something in and share a memory that they have and read this book along with it. Another one of my favorite authors is Patricia Polacco. I could say she is my #1 favorite children's author. An A for Miss Keller it has a lot of text. So it's probably for older kids, but it's a great one about working hard and doing your absolute best in school. Those are a few of the read alouds that I use during the first week. Again, I'll link a list down below. I also start a chapter book. So I am not only reading kids' children's books, but I'm reading a chapter book for our whole class to listen to. Some of my favorites, Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone. I believe every child should listen to Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone read aloud to them. I think about when I met Harry Potter and there were no movies. There were no preconceived notions. I actually read Harry Potter because the school I was working at, they were talking about banning the book because they had heard, ooh, it has witches and wizards, and they were a little bit conservative crazy for a minute. So I read the first one. Only one was out. And I was hooked, and I went to bat and said, we get to have these books in our schools and in our classroom. So I'm a huge Harry Potter fan. Of course, I've read all 7 books. Of course, I've seen all 7 movies. Of course, I've been to Harry Potter World in Florida. Love Harry Potter. So that is one that I think every child deserves to hear. A few others that I have. This one's Dory Phantasmagorie. Dory Phantasmagorie. This was recommended to me by one of my previous students, and this is a great one. For older kids, I like to read aloud this book called A Writer's Notebook, and that leads me to answering another question. Some of you asked me about creators' notebooks, and this is a kind of writing that I believe sparks joy in kids. Free writing, choice writing, and I will do several videos on the creator's notebook and how to set it up in your classroom and how kids absolutely fall in love with this. This is my current notebook, and like I said, I am going to do several videos that will teach you how to implement this into your classroom. So that will come later, but that book, A Writer's Notebook, is a really good one to read to like 5th and 6th grade kids. All right, back to first week. How do you plan? I'm going to look at my notes for a second. I take lots of photos. Make sure you take individual photos on the first day. and have the kids use those. You frame them. Remember how I talked about painting frames in one of my videos? Paint them, use those pictures. On the first day of school, I always like to have the kids draw a picture of themselves on the first day. And I just use a piece of paper, and I will link a black line down below. But what it has is they draw their picture here on the first day. Okay, there's my drawing. And then I get their photo printed that I took, and then they put their photo on that side. And that goes in their portfolio forever. That's something that moms love. So that is a great thing that you can do on the first day of school with every single age of kids. Also have them write some things. I am feeling this way about school. I am excited about this. I love this. I'm nervous about this. Those feeling kinds of writing are great on the first day of school. In addition to that first week, go outside. Like, take several breaks, even if it's just, hey kids, let's go outside and look at the playground. Let's go outside and run to the fence. Let's go outside and look at the trees. What do the leaves look like? This is something I did throughout the whole year. I live in Utah, and so we have these beautiful, huge mountains. And outside of my classroom door, I could look at the mountains, and I would say, kids, look at the trees on the mountains. Look at the colors. Oh, it's green. It's August. It's summer. And then we'd look every single day. Look at the trees on the mountains. Oh my gosh, the mountains look like they're on fire. They look like Fruity Pebbles cereal. It is fall. The leaves are changing. The leaves are falling off the trees. In the winter, same thing. Look at the mountains. Oh, they're covered with snow. The deciduous trees, the evergreen trees, are still green, but the other trees don't have any leaves on them. So go outside, notice what's around. Notice their community. Notice the things that are around them. That gives you a time to kind of breathe as well. I do a few whole class assessments during the first week of school. I use the qualitative spelling inventory from Words Their Way, and I'd be happy to share more about that in a future video. I do some just cold writing and do some basic math just to assess where the kids are. I do a lot of that during the first week. I use a word wall, an alphabetical word wall, and during the first week of school, I put everybody's first name on the word wall. So I will do about 5 a day, and it's kind of fun because I highlight that student. I'll just say, okay, this is Tess. Tess starts with letter T, T-E-S-S. We're going to put her on letter T. Tess, what's your favorite thing? What's your favorite animal? What's your favorite color? Just real quick. And I do about 5 students a day and have all their names on the word wall. I think... Oh, I talked about how I have my students label their own things. I print out sticker labels and give each student about 10. And then that first day, first thing in the morning, label your crayons, label your pencil box, label your notebook, label your math book, whatever needs to be labeled. I don't spend time doing that before school starts. I feel like kids are more responsible and they take better care of things when they have a part in doing that. So that's something I do on the first day. And I also I talked about read alouds. I also read a lot of poems when we're waiting in line to go to lunch. When we have a 30-second little, time, I'll bring out a poetry book and read some poems. I know there's probably a lot more, but those are the things that came to me. Oh, buddies. There we go. Assign your buddies first day. Talk about what does a good buddy do. Let's interview our buddy. Find out what does our buddy like. What do they not like? What's their favorite treat? Spend some time forming those bonds as buddies. And I do have a video that talks a lot about buddies. I think it's number 4, but check that out if you missed that one. And that's all about buddies. And I think that's a long answer to that one question. What do we do on the first week or first day of school? Okay, another question I'm going to answer for first year teachers. What should we buy and what shouldn't we buy? I would invest in things like books that you can get at thrift stores, yard sales. Scholastic always has dollar books. Ask old teachers that are leaving to donate to you, but I would buy books. Those are things you can always take with you. So I would invest in books. I would invest in like a birthday gift for the kids. For my birthdays, I shared before, I do markers that I get really cheap right now, and then I give them those on their birthday. That's something I'd invest in. Developing pictures, I would invest in. Felt for your bulletin boards that you can reuse over and over and over again. I would not invest in consumables. Things that maybe your school will provide, like paper and pencils, maybe crayons. I'm not sure what the school provides nowadays or what your school provides. But if it's consumable and you can get it at the school, I would not invest in that. I would also not invest in like pre-made posters. I've talked about how anything that goes up on your walls before the kids come to school, they're not even going to notice it's there. So don't put things up on your walls until the kids are involved in that. So I would not buy a lot of pre-made posters and things like that. I would invest in a case of your favorite soda and maybe even a mini fridge that could go in your classroom. Make sure you have a couple of your favorite treats available, especially during that first week of school. Teaching is the best job in the world. As teachers, we expect a lot out of ourselves, and sometimes you just need to sit down and take a breather and, have a swig of your Diet Dr. Pepper or whatever it is that you like to drink at school. Have a couple of M&Ms, have a breather. And especially during that first week, I remember being a new teacher thinking, I can never sit down. I can never stop. I can never stop teaching. I can never have a downtime. And that is a recipe for disaster. You've got to have really intense times of teaching and then times that the kids are working and you're more of a monitor. That's okay. Read alouds are like my favorite way to take a breather. I love that. So this video has already gone super long, so I'm going to end today. I'm going to end right now, but tomorrow I'm going to answer some more questions. Things like whole classroom management tips. I got that question. How do I greet the kids in the morning if I am on bus duty? Classroom tools. Do I like kids have their own things at their desks? Do I like table cubbies? Do I like things that I just hand out once in a while? I'll answer that question. I'm going to talk about higher order thinking skills. I had that question. Thank you, Destiny. You're, making me do my homework. And how do we relax those first year nerves? So I'll talk about those things tomorrow. Thank you so much for being here. If you have any other questions, feel free to put them down below. I just am so excited about the response I'm getting with my channel and excited to share my journey and the things I've learned with you. Also excited to learn from you. So please comment, and cheers to being a teacher. Go out and change the world.